There is an experience that many people who walk the path of spiritual awakening eventually encounter, and it is both rare and profound. It is the experience of meeting someone who is at the same level of consciousness as you are, someone who sees what you see, who understands what you understand, who has awakened to the same truths that you have awakened to. And when this meeting occurs, something extraordinary happens, something that is difficult to describe to those who have not experienced it, but which is immediately recognizable to those who have. For most of your journey, you have been essentially alone. Not alone in the sense of having no companions or relationships, but alone in the sense of being the only one in your immediate circle who sees through the illusions that others take for reality. You look around and you see people caught in their stories, identified with their roles, believing their thoughts, defending their positions, seeking validation, running from themselves. And you understand why they are doing this. You were once doing it yourself, but you can no longer participate in quite the same way. You have seen something they have not yet seen. You know something they do not yet know. And this creates a peculiar kind of loneliness. It is not the loneliness of lacking company. It is the loneliness of not being able to share what you have discovered, of not being able to speak openly about what you see, of having to translate your understanding into language that will not threaten or confuse those around you. You learn to speak carefully, to measure your words, to meet people where they are rather than where you are. And this is fine, this is appropriate, this is compassionate. But it means that there is a part of your experience that remains unshared, unspoken, unknown to those closest to you. You may have tried to share it. You may have attempted to explain what you have seen, what you have realized, what has changed in your understanding of yourself and reality. And you have likely discovered that words are quite inadequate for this task. What is clear and obvious to you comes out sounding strange, abstract, or even arrogant when you try to articulate it. People look at you with confusion, or concern, or polite disinterest. They do not understand what you are talking about because they are still experiencing themselves in the old way, still identified with the separate self, still believing the fundamental illusion that you have seen through. And so you learn to keep it to yourself. You learn to live with this knowledge quietly, privately, without making a fuss about it. You continue to engage with the world, to maintain your relationships, to fulfill your responsibilities. But there is always this part of you that remains hidden, this understanding that cannot be shared, this seeing that has no witness. Until one day you meet someone who sees it too. The recognition is often immediate. There is something in the eyes, something in the quality of presence, something in the way the person moves through the world that signals to you, this person knows. This person has been where you have been. This person sees what you see. And in that recognition, there is a jolt, a shock, a sudden sense of, finally, here is someone who understands. The conversation that follows such a meeting is unlike any other conversation you have had. There is no need for careful translation, no need to measure your words, no need to hold back or simplify or explain from first principles. You can speak directly from your understanding, and the other person receives it immediately, recognizes it, responds from the same place of knowing. There is a quality of communion that happens, a meeting not just of minds, but of being itself, of consciousness recognizing itself in another form. And what is remarkable is that very little may actually need to be said. Because when two people are operating from the same level of consciousness, from the same ground of being, communication becomes almost effortless. A glance can convey what would take paragraphs to explain to someone who is not awakened. A single word can point to an entire dimension of understanding. There is a kind of shorthand that becomes possible, a directness of communication that bypasses all the usual mechanisms of explanation and justification and defense. This is not because you are speaking in code or using secret language. It is because both of you are referring to the same direct experience, the same direct seeing. You are not discussing concepts or beliefs or ideas about reality. You are speaking from reality itself, from the ground of being, from that which is prior to all concepts. And when two people can do this together, the conversation has a quality of depth and authenticity and aliveness that is quite rare. But let me be clear about what this meeting is and what it is not. It is not about finding someone who agrees with all